his bantamweight title in Japan last New Year's Eve, and he's getting a title shot right away, flyweight championship opportunity. For the fans that aren't really too familiar with what they're going to experience and just the level of star he is, how would you best describe Kai Asakura?
Well, I mean, the Asakura brothers, Kai and Mikuru, they're rock stars in Japan. Think, Conor McGregor, right? Like he's a global phenomenon, but he's a rock star. He's transcended the sport. In Japan, the Asakura brothers are some people that have, and Kai's transcended the sport. Okay, he's bigger. He's got a following, a massive YouTube following. Him and his brother can't go anywhere. I once described them as the Japanese Diaz brothers, right? Street fighters. They were street fighters that competed in the Outsiders or the Outlaws or whatever it was called. I forgot what it was called. And then they started learning how to fight. They took that savage skill set of being street fighters and learned how to fight professionally, with technique, with stamina, with patience, with timing, and ascended up the Japanese rankings very, very quickly. And the speed that especially Kai has. Kai is a super fast puncher, explosive. I don't know if he's in over his head with this title shot and the overwhelming fact that you're now competing for the UFC. I learned a very long time ago, I've been in the UFC, involved with the UFC since day one in 93, do the math. Okay. There's a lot more to this game than physical. A lot of it is mental. And it took me a long time to really understand how impactful the mental game is for a fighter or an athlete, as opposed to the physical. And you just don't know what they're going into the cage with or the ring with in terms of injuries. You don't know what their personal life is like. You don't know what happened at home. You don't know what happened at the hotel this morning. You don't know if they got bad news before the fight, because there's always a donkey. There's always an idiot that thinks that they can just call a fighter and say, oh, this happened or that happened, not realizing that this person is going to war. Their life is on the line. Legit, life is on the line here. Okay, and it could be anything. I don't want to get too in deep into that, but I've heard stories of, and I've seen it with my own eyes, where I'm like, how can you do that? The reason why George St. Pierre would block off society after the weigh-ins. Yeah. No phones to anybody. No, don't talk to him unless it's fighting. And he would only have a select few people around him because he trusted them not to give him any bad news or any news in general that wasn't fight related. Right? And some of these guys they'll night of the fight, they can't sleep, they're out, they're doing this, or they're playing just right. So for Kai Asakura, who knows what he's going into this fight with, I wish him obviously the best of luck. Right? There's obviously a personal situation there. I called so many of his fights. I'd love to see him win, but it's a big step for him, and we'll see how he performs.